Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Doncaster Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 27th of March 2021. Gonna look at the stakes races on the program from Doncaster, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also join me today for my Dubai World Cup preview from Maidan, and also for my Florida Derby preview from Gulfstream. Just in general, check out my previews because there's some great racing all across the world today. But today's the day one of the turf flat season in the UK. Excellent card from Doncaster. The Lincoln's always a good race. So let's look at the stakes races 2, 4, and 5. The 2 o'clock, the 3, 10, and also the 3:45. Let's get to the second race at the 2 o'clock. It is the Doncaster Mile. It's a listed stakes for Class 1 horses going for a purse $50,500. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have 11 horses going 1,600 meters or a mile on the Doncaster good rated turf course. We're going to take as a top selection here the 4-horse Juan Elcano. We'll go 4-7-1 in the Tricast trifecta. 4-7-1 Tricast trifecta. Top selection of 4-horse Juan Elcano. 4-year-old Gilman by Frankel. Andre Tazzini gets them out for Kevin Ryan. Most recently, they ran the horse on the 19th of August at York, a mile and a half in the Group 2 Great Voltaire Stakes, and the horse finished 8th by 13 lengths. Pile Driver ran a terrific race that day. This horse, he didn't break that well. He wanted to go to the front end, but, he just really couldn't quicken up, and the rider, Adzini, that they had a strong hold on him. He didn't have a lot left in the tank for the final 2 furlongs there. He's not a mile and a half horse. He's a miler. Back to a mile and a half, hopefully breaking well. He should really run a good race. The last 2 starts he didn't break well. Before that, in the Group 2 Dante at York, a mile and a quarter on the 9th of July, and yielding ground, he finished third by 2 1/4 lengths. Didn't have the best beginnings that day, and he just kind of sat behind and just never really had a good run. And also, a mile and a quarter just maybe a little bit too long. And then before then, the Hampton Court on good ground at Ascot on the 17th of June over the mile and a quarter trip there, he finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths, and he looked like he was going to get a piece of it early on in the top of the lane. He looked like he was going to quicken up nicely, but he just never quickened up to his full potential. Like I said, mile and a quarter, just a little bit too long, but cutting back to a mile today, drawn very well on the stand side. I think he could run a good race. He hasn't won since his 2-year-old race, a 2-year-old year where he won a race over at Haydock on the 17th of June on very wet ground, which is norm at Haydock. But since then, he's been facing some very tough horses and running these decent races. Like he ran here at Doncaster in his 2-year-old campaign and the Champagne Stakes where he placed behind Threat and Royal Crusade, and I thought he stayed the trip well. There was nothing bad about that race, quicking up a little bit, but finally back to a mile at 7-1. He's a very likely winner, so let's take him. To recap my selection for the 2 o'clock, the second race from Doncaster, it is the Doncaster Mile. Let's take the 4-horse Juan Elcano. We'll go 4-7-1 in the Tricast trifecta. So we're going to head over to race number 4 now, the 3:10 from Doncaster, which is the Lincoln Handicap. It's a Class 2 handicap going for a purse of $137,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 22 horses going 1,600 meters again, or a mile on the turf course. I'm going to take the 15-horse Eastern World as the top selection. We'll go 15-16 in the Forecast Exacta. 15-16 Forecast Exacta, top selection of 15-horse Eastern World. This Godolphin known Charlie Appleby trained 4-year-old Gilman by Dubois. James Doyle gets them out. Most recently, they ran the horse the 13th of February at Maidan, 1,800 meters, a mile and 1/8 on the turf course in a handicap, and he won by 3.5 lengths there. And he got the job done very easily. He stalked, he got the lead, quickened up nicely from the wide post draw. It was an all-around good return to the races. Most recent race in the UK, who came here at Doncaster during a St. Ledger meeting, 7 furlongs in a Class 2 handicap. He finished 9th by 13 lengths there, and he was with him early on. He looked like he was going to pounce at the top of the lane, but he completely hit the wall. He folded under the pressure. He should have did a lot better there. And then before that at York on the 21st of August, at a Class 2 handicap over the mile trip, he finished 5th by 3.5 lengths and drawn a little bit too wide. You want to be drawn well with a mile trip at York. He had to be used a lot early on to get to the front end, and I think that cost his chances late where he just couldn't really get the good turn of foot onto the drive. And then before that at Newmarket, 1 mile July 11th in a Class 2 handicap, finishing second by a half length, was with him early on. He just couldn't get the final hill well, which, on the July course, Newmarket can be tricky at times. But his most recent victory he broke the main at Newmarket in June against some very lesser quality horses, going away by 2 lengths. An easy race there on the front end. Coming here 7-2 with a race under his belt so far this season. I'm going to give him a shot. James Doyle probably had the option to ride some horses today in Dubai. He chose to come back to the UK, and I think it's going to be good for him. So we use him, and I also think the 16-horse Uzo you have to give a shot also. if you pardon the pun, Uzo and shot. Sean Levy gets the mount on this one for Richard Hannon. Most recently, they ran the horse at York on soft ground in October in a Class 2 handicap over the mile trip. He won by a neck. He abused a lot that day, but he got the jump very nicely. Before that, in Class 2 at Newbury, a mile and a quarter, he finished 10th by 5.5 lengths and just didn't show up there. Not a mile and a quarter horse. Another horse back to a mile, drawn very well at 20-1. We'll give him a shot in your place pots. But to recount my selection for the fourth race, 310 from Doncaster, it's the Lincoln Handicap. Let's use as a top selection the 15 horse Eastern World. Give kudos to the 16 horse Uzo. 15-16 in the forecast exacta. And like I said, use them both in the place pot. Let's get to the fifth race from Doncaster. The 345, the fifth race from Doncaster, it's the Cammidge Trophy Stakes. It's a listed stakes for Class 1 horses, going for a purse $50,500, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have 11 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. We're going to take as a top selection here the number 9 horse, Tis Marvelous. We'll go 948 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 948 Tri-Cash Trifecta, top selection 9 horse, Tis Marvelous, 7-year-old gelded by Harbor Watch. Adam Kirby gets them out for Clive Cox. The horse's most recent outing came the 14th of October at Nottingham. 5 furlongs in a list stakes on very soft ground. He finished 8th by 9 3/4 lengths there. I just don't think he liked the wet ground that particular afternoon. He never really got a good handle of it. His wheels were spinning and he just was not excelling. Come back here 6 furlongs on quite quicker ground compared to what he had last time out. I think he's just in a more realistic spot to win. Also, I don't know if he likes the 5 so much. He did run at 5 at Newbury in September in the Group 3 World Trophy Stakes, and he placed that day. He wasn't going to catch Lazul, who just ran that better race, but he got down the track well. And then before that, on good to soft ground at Leicester, 5 furlongs in a Class 3 conditions race, getting serious class relief from his previous race. He won by 1/4 lengths, and again on the drive, and was excelling there. But it wasn't very slow. 5 furlongs, a minute for the race was, it wasn't a world record there, but he still got the job done. And then before that, he ran the Hackwood at Newbury, the Group 3 Hackwood, over the 6 furlongs. He finished 7 by 8 3/4 lengths there, and he just never could get through. And also, some of those horses are decent horses. Tim Atten, who placed that day, is a Group 1 winner, so he just wasn't keeping up with him. And then before then, the Coral Charge Sandown over the 5 furlongs, finished 4th by 2.5 lengths, and he just wasn't catching him. Again, the winner Al Ali is a decent Group quality horse, just never getting into him. And then before that, if you look at the Ascot race in the King's Stand, he ran a decent 4th. He wasn't going to win, but he placed behind some very good horses. And each one coming here off the bench, let's give him a shot with class relief. But to recap my selection for the 5th, the 345 from Doncaster's Cabbage Trophy, let's take the number 9 horse, Tis Marvelous. We'll go 948 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.